Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Shiva Prabhupada. Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Namacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Книга Кришна, Верховный Вишну Бога.
Krishna book, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, chapter 10. The end of the 9th chapter is about Yashoda Mata bending Krishna with the ropes and tie him to the stove. So here we begin the new story. It is not connected directly to Yashoda, and even the earth story, history. Parallel Lila starts with demigods, cursed demigods. They were situated on the earth as a result of the curse. So Krishna, being bent, is thinking here that Mother Yashoda did not feed him, dropped him without feeding. Then, when he started eating the butter and giving it to the monkeys, she wanted to chastise him. He was regret. He was bent to the stove, and he wanted to behave himself bad, even worse. And here Prabhupada says that his activities, what he decided to do. He saw two trees, these trees, Yamal and Arjuna trees. When Krishna is looking, he can see the past, the present and future. The deliverance of Nalakūvara and Maṇigrīva. He saw these personalities. In this chapter, the story of the cursing of Nalakūvara and Maṇigrīva and the deliverance by Krishna under the all-blissful desire of the great sage Nārada is here described. The two great demigods, Nalakūvara and Maṇigrīva, were sons of the treasurer of the demigods, Kuvera, who was a great devotee of Lord Śiva. By the grace of Lord Śiva, Kuvera's material opulence had no limit. As the rich man's sons often become addicted to wine and women, so these two sons of Kuvera were also addicted to wine and sex. Once, these two demigods, desiring to enjoy, entered the garden of Lord Śiva in the province of Kailāsa, on the bank of the Mandākinī Ganges. Very interesting place. Terrific place. Amazing. Maybe Turkish is a place of people. Maybe it is a cheap travels. Hawaii's, I think, Canaras or Hawaii's for rich people. Maldives. Here we can see Kailāsa. We are lacking money to come to Kailāsa. They were very rich sons. They were drinking wine much engaged in hearing the sweet singing of the beautiful women who accompanied them in that garden of fragrant flowers. In an intoxicated condition, the two demigods entered the water of the Ganges, which was filled with lotus flowers, and they began to enjoy the company of the young girls, exactly as a male elephant enjoys female elephants within the water. While they were enjoying themselves in the water, all of a sudden Nārada, the great sage, happened to pass that way. Very happened, accidentally, you know. Nārada. At least they did not expect him to come. It was not suitable picture. The circumstances were not suitable to accept sage, drunk, intoxicated, and undressed with young girls in the water. Sages do not appear in such circumstances, accidentally. He could understand that demigods Nalakūvara and Maṇigrīva were too much intoxicated and could not even see that he was passing. The young girls, however, were not so much intoxicated as the demigods, and they at once became ashamed at being naked before the great sage Nārada. They began to cover themselves with haste. The two demigods, sons of Kuvera, were so much intoxicated they could not appreciate the presence of sage Nārada and therefore did not cover their bodies. On seeing the two demigods so degraded by intoxication, Nārada desired their welfare, and therefore he exhibited his causeless mercy upon them by cursing them. For it is a special mercy for the proud people, rich proud people. The rich people are puffed up, they are socially dangerous. They are intoxicated with the welfare, especially on such level. Even Nārada, they did not see him. They were very cool guys. And Nārada is fearless. And he desired to give them his mercy. Because the great sage was compassionate upon them, he wanted to finish their false enjoyment of intoxication and association with young girls, and wanted them to see Lord Kṛṣṇa face to face. Accidentally, these demigods had a great opulence because they had a nice birth, very rich on the paradise planets. The amount of the opulence was very big, and Nārada decided this opulence toward to Kṛṣṇa. They could not do it themselves. If you cannot give them instructions, you can curse them to get rid of this wealth. You get rid of the wealth, but the opulence, the penances is present, so you can direct these penances results towards Kṛṣṇa. Kṛṣṇa acts himself. He takes the wealth, and these formerly rich people go humble, they are proud, and humble, humilized again and again and again. Proud, humilized. That is a circle. But when a person comes to see Kṛṣṇa face to face, his material existence finished. That's what Nārada wanted. He desired to curse them, conceived them of cursing them as follows. He said that the attraction for material enjoyment is due to an increase of the mode of passion. A person in material world, when favored to material opulence of riches, generally becomes addicted to three things: intoxication, sex, and gambling. Materially opulent men, being puffed up with the accumulation of wealth, also become so merciless that they indulge in killing animals by opening slaughterhouses. And they think that they themselves will never die. Illusion of money is so much that I feel I will never die. That is illusion of money. I can see the money, my future is very enlightened. That's illusion. Intoxication, total intoxication. Such foolish persons, forgetting the laws of nature, become overly infatuated with the body. They forget that the material body, even though very much advanced in civilization, up to the position of the demigods, will finally turn into ashes or stool. And while one is living, whatever the external condition of the body might be, within is only stool, urine, and various kinds of worms. Thus, being engaged in jealousy and violence to our bodies, materialists cannot understand the ultimate goal of life. And without knowing this goal of life, they generally glide down to a hellish condition in their next life. Such foolish persons commit all kinds of sinful activities on account of the temporary body, and they are even unable to consider whatever the body actually belongs to them. Generally, it is said that the body belongs to the persons who feed it. One might therefore consider whatever the body belongs to the one personality or to the master to whom one renders service. The master of slaves claims full right to the bodies of slaves because the master feeds the slaves. It may also be questioned whatever the body belongs to the father, who is the seed-giving master of the body, or to the mother who develops the child's body in her womb. So, while people have not these questions, they consider themselves independent. When they have the money, they feel free from all obligation. You cannot give me instruction or oblige me to some things. I can do anything because I have money. Illusion is very strong. Foolish persons are engaged in committing all sorts of sins due to the misconception of identifying the material body with the self. But one should be intelligent enough to understand to whom the body belongs. A foolish person indulges in killing animals to maintain the body, but he does not consider whether the body belongs to him or to his father or mother or maternal grandfather. Sometimes a father gives his daughter in charity to a person with the view of getting back the daughter's child as a son. The body may also belong to a stronger man who forces it to work for him. Sometimes a slave's body is sold to a master, and from that day on the body belongs to the master. And at the end of life the body belongs to the fire, because the body is given to the fire and burned to ashes. Or the body is thrown into the street to be eaten by the dogs and vultures. Before committing all kinds of sins to maintain the body, one should understand to whom the body belongs. Ultimately, it is concluded that the body is a product of material nature, and at the end it merges into material nature. Therefore, the conclusion should be that the body belongs to material nature. One should not wrongly think that the body belongs to him. To maintain a false possession, why should one indulge in killing? Why should one kill innocent animals to maintain the body? So, the body belongs to material nature. Whom else? You are ashes and you will turn to ashes. You are created from ashes, formed by more subtle laws of material nature. Gross body is under the guidance of subtle. Thoughts are under the guidance of the body, and it is created by the subtle laws of nature. The thought, I have thoughts. I cannot see thoughts. Therefore, I cannot understand how nature is thinking. The body is a complex mechanism. I cannot see the thought which created this body. Thinking. Vedas say that there are elements, and these elements create all the material existence. The body is a part of nature, is consisting of these elements, so we can understand that nature has its own manas, buddhi and ahankara, but of a different scale. And we interact with this nature on gross and subtle nature. We can understand gross creation, but the subtle needs the relations, mind and character, etc., etc. If we have not the relations with nature, we cannot understand how it is creating the gross bodies. I am the body, I am in this body, so the nature is the bodily also. And when I collect all material resources to sustain my body, I feel myself independent. It is ignorance, total ignorance. It is the knowledge which animals possess. People cultivate this knowledge like philosophy, economical or sociology. They develop industries also and think that they're independent, controlling, and well-known. This material science makes the ignorance even stronger. Before these ignorant activities, one should understand to whom this body belongs. Even Maṇigrīva and Nalakūvara forgot. When a man is infatuated with the false prestige of opulence, he doesn't care for any moral instruction, but indulges in wine, women, and animal killing. In such circumstances, a poverty-stricken man is often better situated because a poor man thinks of himself in relation to other bodies. A poor man often does not wish to inflict injuries upon other bodies because he understands more readily that when he himself is injurious, he feels pain. Therefore, the great sage Nārada considered that because the demigods Nalakūvara and Maṇigrīva were so infatuated by false prestige, they should be put into a condition of life devoid of opulence. What form of life has no opulences? We can see here. A person who has a pinprick in his body does not wish others to be pricked by pins. A considerate man is in the life of poverty does not wish others to be also put in that condition. Generally, it is seen that one who has risen from a poverty-stricken life and becomes wealthy creates some charitable institution at the end of his life so that other poverty-stricken men might be benefited. In short, a compassionate poor man may consider others' pains and pleasures with empathy. A poor man is seldom puffed up with the false pride, and he may be freed from all kinds of infatuation. He may remain satisfied by whatever he gets, by his many attainments, by the grace of the Lord. A poverty-stricken condition is a kind of austerity. According to Vedic culture, therefore, the Brahmanas, as a matter of routine, keep themselves in a poverty-stricken condition to save themselves from the false prestige of material opulence. False prestige due to advancement of material prosperity is a great impediment for spiritual emancipation. A poverty-stricken man cannot become eternally fed by eating more and more, and on account of not being able to eat more than he requires, his senses are not very turbulent. When the senses are not very turbulent, he cannot become violent. For spiritual life, poverty is considered a benediction. What is night for one is a day for another. Reality is that we are not possessing anything, so poverty is more real than wealth. But because wealth gives many sensual enjoyment, people think it is a benediction. They consider benediction should be opulence and becoming rich. Another advantage of poverty is that a saintly person can easily enter a poor man's house, and thus the poor man can take advantage of the saintly person's association. A very opulent man does not allow anyone to enter his house, therefore the saintly person cannot enter. They consider the saints as those who are asking poor people, you get rid of them, go away, close the door, let's have a peaceful life with our money. Why do we need the saints? They will criticize us. They are envious to our opulence, enjoyment. That is the mentality of rich people. It is very easily to come into the house of poor man. We saw it the same. A whole crowd of us were passing through the house of poor person. We did not understand it is even a house. He was so poor. His spouse was washing some pots, but it is a place of his life. Just directly through his heart we were crossing, and he didn't say a word. He was looking at us and continued washing the pots. We understood it was his place of life, it was his house, and we are walking through it without asking. But it's very easy, very simple. According to the Vedic system, a saintly person takes the position of a mendicant, so that one the plea of begging something from the householder, he can enter any house. It's a sannyasi. The householder who has usually forgotten everything about spiritual advisement because he is busy maintaining family affairs. He can be benefited by the association of saintly person. There is a great chance for the poor man to become liberated through association with a saint. Of what use are persons who are puffed up with material opulence and prestige if they are bereft of the association of saintly persons and devotees of Supreme Personality of Godhead? The great sage Nārada thereafter thought that it was his duty to put these demigods into a condition where they could not be falsely proud of their material opulence and prestige. Nārada was compassionate and wanted to save them from their fallen life. They were in the mode of darkness, and being therefore unable to control their senses, they were addicted to sex life. It was the duty of saintly person like Nārada to save them from their abominable condition. In animal life, the animal has no sense to understand that he is naked. But Kuvera was the treasurer of the demigods and a very responsible man. And Nalakūvara and Maṇigrīva were to his sons, and yet they became so animalistic and irresponsible that they could not understand due to intoxication they were naked. To cover the lower part of the body is a principle of human civilization. So, civilized life starts from the understanding of the body. In the body there are different centers, a lot of them lower and upper centers. One should understand this culture. Which centers should be opened and closed at what time? A turtle uses its legs when it is necessary and hides when it is not necessary. And it is understood to some of the people that the legs should be closed. Some people have this strong desire to open this lower part of the body. It is their enjoyment. It is animalistic condition of life, consciousness. If we understand the body, how it works, what potential is there, we can understand there are higher centers of understanding in the life than the lower centers. And of course, we will need to open the higher centers and close the lower. But for materialists, they close the upper centers. They do not care, saint or not, no matter, and open the lower centers. And when men or women forgo these principles, they become no better than animals. Nārada therefore thought that the best punishment for them was to make them immovable living entities or trees. Trees are by nature's laws immovable. Although trees are covered by the mode of ignorance, they cannot do harm. The great sage Nārada thought it fitting that, although the brothers would be punished to become trees, by this mercy they would continue to keep their memory and be able to know why they were being punished. After changing the body, a living entity generally forgets his previous lives. But in special cases, by the grace of the Lord, as with Nalakūvara and Maṇigrīva, one can remember. It is a seldom, rare situation that in the form of tree one can keep the memories. Sage Nārada, therefore, contemplated that the two demigods should remain for 100 years in the time of the demigods in the form of trees, and after that they would be fortunate enough to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face by His causeless mercy, and thus they would be again promoted to the life of the demigods and become great devotees of the Lord. So, trees are naked. Their genitalias are open. It is a flowers. It is free of sin for trees. Beautiful tree gives the shade and fruit, and all its life is open, and sexual life is open. Therefore, they are giving the purity from the nature. Why? Because of their very strong sins in past lives. They are covered with the nature's mode of goodness, but their condition is ignorant. They cannot harm anybody. Therefore, nature is considered sattvic. Inside of nature, it is ignorant, but the nature itself is sattvic, beneficial. After this, the great sage Nārada returned to his abode. So, we continue this story about Kṛṣṇa. When these trees grown in Vrindavana, two trees, and they were rising in the front yard of Nanda Maharaj, and they see Kṛṣṇa face to face. And Kṛṣṇa is in Lila. He is thinking how to act himself after Yashoda was punishing him. And these trees see Kṛṣṇa. Although child Kṛṣṇa was bound up to the wooden mortar, he began to proceed toward the twin trees in order to fulfill the prophecy of his great sage Nārada, great devotee Nārada. Lord Kṛṣṇa knew that Nārada was his great devotee and that the trees standing before King as twin Arjuna trees were actually the sons of Kuvera. I must now fulfill the words of my great devotee Nārada, he thought. Then he proceeded through the passage between the two trees. Although he was able to pass through the passage, the large wooden mortar stuck horizontally between the trees. Taking advantage of this with great strength, Lord Kṛṣṇa began to pull the rope which he was tied to the mortar. As soon as he pulled, the two trees with the branches and limbs fell down immediately with a great sound. Out of the broken fallen trees became two great personalities shining like blazing fire. All sides became illuminated and beautiful by their presence. The two purified personalities immediately came before child Kṛṣṇa and bowed down to offer their respects and prayers in the following words. Dear Lord Kṛṣṇa, they said. It's possible, they saw him. When personalities understand each other very nicely, altogether, when their lifestyle is similar, ascetic, they get closer at the sublime, subtle body. When nice sadhana is there, we can easily understand each other, the feelings, the understandings of each other. The devotees all over the world, wherever nationalities and countries they live, they can easily understand each other because the food, this lifestyle is similar. This thinking is in unison. That is civilization, the unity. Dear Lord Kṛṣṇa, you are the original personality of Godhead, master of the mystic powers. They saw them face to face. Nārada first, at the end of the career of demigods. Nārada cursed them. They became sober by this curse, but it was too late, and Nārada gave them the memory. And when they were broken as the trees, they left these trees of the bodies of the trees, and remembering of this curse and their experience, they got the lesson. By these 100 years of demigods in the bodies of the trees, they were waiting for the liberation, and they said, "You're the original personality of Godhead," because Nārada said that to them. Master of all mystic powers. We know Krishna only because our spiritual master told it to us. Once we can see him personally, direct darshan, and we will say, Supreme Personality of Godhead. We heard it, and now we see. Learned Brahmanas know very well that this cosmic manifestation is an expansion of your potencies, which are sometimes manifest and sometimes unmanifest. You are the original provider of the life, body and senses of all living entities. You are the eternal God, Lord Vishnu, who is all-pervading, the imperishable controller of all everything, and you are eternal time. You are the original source of the cosmic manifestation, which is acting under the spell of the three mouths of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance. You are living as the super-soul in all multi-forms of living entities, and you know very well what is going on with their bodies and minds. Therefore, you are the supreme director of all activities of all living entities. But although you are in the midst of everything which is under the spell of the material bodies of nature, you are not affected by such contaminated qualities. No one under the jurisdiction of the material modes can understand your transcendental qualities which existed before the creation. Therefore, you are called the Supreme Transcendence. Let us offer our respect and obeisances unto the lotus feet of you, Lord Vasudeva, the Supreme Brahman, who are always glorified by your personal internal potencies. It is a total purification they obtained, but they needed 100 years by the demigods count. Their meditation on their sins was a penances. 100 years penances. And waiting for the Lord Kṛṣṇa. Nārada said it to them, that they will meet him. In this material world, you make yourself known only by your different incarnations. Although you assume different types of bodies, these bodies are not part of the material creation. They are always full of transcendental potencies of unlimited opulence, strength, beauty, fame, wisdom, and renunciation. In the material existence, there is a difference between the body and the owner of the body, but because you appear in your original spiritual body, there is no difference for you. Such difference is absent. When you appear, your uncommon activities indicate that you are supreme personalities of Godhead. Such uncommon activities are not possible for anybody in material existence. The body of Krishna can be seen by the heart. Because of the heart condition, the reception of Krishna is dependent. One can see Krishna as a mundane person, maybe not so ordinary, because his activities are supreme over the possibilities of people. But some can think he is a body, material body, and can think he obtained these opulences and power by some methods of self-realization, self-development, austerities. But Krishna never performed austerities and did not use any methods of self-realization. And they say maybe in previous life he did it. He performed this. In previous incarnation as Narayana he performed. Maybe from previous life, as Krishna Arjuna he came, so in previous life he used these powers. Austerities are not necessary for the Lord, but I fulfill my duties. In this form I come, I follow this nature, for the others to follow their nature. So now and after creation, all these divine qualities stay with him. So you do not need to perform any austerities because you are connected with the original source of all these powers. It's material point of understanding. When the Lord gets the birth at an ordinary person, these powers and etc., there is no reason in it. And in Krishna consciousness, this faith revives. And with the eyes of faith and intelligence, one can see the form, original form of Krishna. The body of Krishna is non-different from his body and senses, from super soul in our heart. Therefore, contact with his spiritual body, with him, is happening in our heart, within the heart, in the place where super soul is situated. Supreme Personality of Godhead caused the birth and death as well as the liberation of the living entities. You are the full with all your plenary expansions. You can bestow on anyone all kinds of benediction. O Lord, O source of all auspiciousness and goodness, we offer you respectful obeisances unto you. You are the all-pervading Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Source of Peace and Supreme Personality in the dynasty of King Yadu. O Lord, our Father, known as Kuvera the demigod, is your servant. Similarly, the great sage Nārada is also your servitor, and only by their grace have we been able to see your personality. Now they glorify Nārada, who cursed them, obtaining the form of trees, and they glorify him. This curse turned a benediction at the end. We therefore pray that we may always be engaged in your transcendental loving service by speaking only about your glories and hearing about your transcendental activities. Once Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was asked by his disciples. I heard it in Radhakunda in Vrindavan. One disciple was complaining, Guru Maharaj, what should I do? I tried to chant holy names and follow the practice, but I have a strong disturbance as one person is talking lies on me and criticizing me, and it makes harm on my chanting. I follow sadhana, but this person, what should I do? He is always next to me, he is always on my step and criticizing. A serious problem, I cannot chant attentively, concentrated. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said, you said you give him dwelling next to you, to see him and hear him. He is most purifying method. You are very successful that Krishna gave you this person. It is his plan. Of course, it's a disturbance and curse from one position, but Krishna sanctions. Why? You will be grateful to Krishna when you get purified. That was the plan. You was waiting for Krishna to tell you the truth. He gave you this person, sent him to tell you the truth. He is criticizing you, giving the truth. You build a house to him next to your house and live next to him. But it is a serious curse to meet this person, very difficult. Even sadhana, difficult. But let's be persistent in our Krishna consciousness, singing and chanting, If you are singing and chanting, everything goes nice. May our hands and other limbs be engaged in your service, and our minds always being concentrated on your lotus feet and your heads, our heads always bowed down before the all-pervading universal form of your Lordship. When the demigods Nalakūvara and Maṇigrīva finished their prayers, the child Lord Kṛṣṇa, the master and proprietor of Gokula, bound to the wooden grinding mortar by the ropes of Yashoda, smiled and said, now he is bound to the wooden grinding mortar and punished by Yashoda, and he is worshipped by the prayers. These Maṇigrīva and Nalakūvara did not understand they should not unbound him from the mortar. They saw him as the Lord, but he's in problem, he is bound to mortar. He smiled and said, it was already known to me that my gracious devotee Nārada Muni had shown his causeless mercy by saving you from the abominable condition of pride due to possessing extraordinary beauty and opulence and family demigods. You can go to hell from paradise. This hell is called an endless void. Under us, always. He has saved you from gliding down into the lowest condition of hellish life. All these facts are already known to me. You are very fortunate because not only were you cursed by him, but you had a great opportunity to see him. If someone is able by chance to see face to face a great saintly person like Nārada, he is always serene and merciful to everyone. Then immediately that conditioned soul becomes liberated. This is exactly like being situated in the full light of the sun. There cannot be any visionary impediment. That's as an association with Nārada. Therefore, Nalakūvara and Maṇigrīva, your lives have now become successful because you have developed ecstatic love for me. This is your last birth within material existence. Now you can go back to your father's residence in the heavenly planets, and by remaining in the attitude of devotional service, you will be liberated in this very life. After this, demigods circumambulated the Lord many times and bowed down before him again and again, and thus they left. The Lord remained bound up with the ropes to the grinding mortar. Such a funny story, you see? They did not see these things. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport to the 10th chapter of Kṛṣṇa, the deliverance of Nalakūvara and Maṇigrīva. So, because they did not see him, his dependence on Yashoda, they saw only his powers as demigods. He understands him as Almighty. Demigods see the Lord as Almighty. They are not related, natural, intimate relations as Nārada, Nanda and Yashoda. But these trees were situated for 100 years in Vrindavan, not in other place. When Kṛṣṇa appeared, they could see and feel his leelas. Trees are very sensitive. That's a heavy story we can see here. Kṛṣṇa stays bound to the mortar. It is not finished. So there are a lot of esoteric details Prabhupada does not say here. Prabhupada did not want too much esoteric style in Western life. It would be different mood. Preaching should be balanced. When we have some understanding about matter and spirit, therefore it is a reality, it is not esoterics. When person does not understand, he can think that it is becoming a fairy tale. So this preaching is not so nice. If we reveal all these details, it's a 9th offense of holy name. We can say what is beneficial for all of them. Hare Krishna mantra, transcendental vibration, purifying the heart from all this birth and death. It's a secret for them, birth and death. We should not say about milk who wanted to suicide. Preaching should be understood, and it is fashionable to discuss these topics in Vrindavan, but one should come to these topics naturally. So Prabhupada said to go to devotional service. He did not get acquainted to Radharani, to cowherd boys, to Nanda Yashoda. You go back to your father, you perform devotional service. Nārada didn't say that. You go back to Godhead and your devotional service in Vrindavan, and you enter the Vrindavan. No fairy tale. My milk is engaging me in devotional service. Milk is devotional. Guru for me wants me to boil him for Krishna, but I need Krishna consciousness, not for fairy tales. I need knowledge through experience of life in devotional life. It is not life in the laws of karma, it is out of karma laws. Therefore we can understand what miracles are happening in Krishna's life. The reality gets revealed for us. Next chapter is called Killing the Demons of Vatsasura and Bakasura. Fighting stories. Chapter 11. Action. Spiritual life. What else we need? Everything is there in Krishna. What questions we have here? About the rich and poverty, the question. Why it is offered for yogi to have a rich birth? So the poverty is not good for a non-spiritual person. He can become envy or thief or revolutionary or dissident. The poverty breaks non-spiritual personality, but spiritualized person gets benefit. And a nice person, a poor person inside of the culture can benefit. And wealth, wealth is benediction because all people want this wealth. They are asking, give me the wealth, give me the money for the service, and it is also given. But there is a condition that it can harm you. You can burn the fire, that is the matches, but don't burn the house. So there are shastras for people. Why? It is instruction not to get burnt. Finally, we need the wealth in the society, but not to burn this house of society. There is instruction, but they burn this instruction and decide themselves. That is the wealthy people described here, puffed up. Sounds of nature seem beautiful for us, but like birds singing, but they're singing about some ignorant things like meeting, sex life, and etc. It's not good to hear, to listen. One should close their eyes. It is a pure truth. Once these heavenly trees or birds singing will bring you to woman, and the woman will bound you, engage in material activities, if you are not in Krishna consciousness. What are birds are singing about? I am here, I am here, come to me, where are you? Let's meet, let's have sex. That's their songs, all the text. What people are singing about? The same. I am here, and tell others, I am here, come to me, come to me. I am coming. Well, the same text. But if we use these in Krishna consciousness, we can see it is a reflection of spiritual leelas. It is pure relations without lust. This principle, as in the mirror, is reflected in here, in these songs. So if you listen here, all the birds, for example, in this understanding, in the bees, you can see the Vedic hymns. Uttamadhikari can understand. Gopis listen. The Kurari singing. Why she is singing, lamenting? Because we are separated to Krishna. What other reasons we have? She has the spouse somehow, but it is a reflection of Krishna. They can see Krishna everywhere. You want to become married, it's because you want to come to Krishna. They can see Krishna everywhere. But don't mix this reflection with Krishna. You remember Krishna always. Nobody is in spite of Krishna, not husband, not father, mother, money, nothing and nobody. That is the memories. Then you can see the nature naturally, not for a long time. Sometimes Prabhupada was listening to the noise of the ocean, like breathing of Radharani in separation with Krishna, or roses smelling. But he did not meditate on the nature as a practice. He was chanting the holy names and following Lord Chaitanya. Is Krishna and Vishnu the same personality? The qualities, the quantity of the quality is different. How can I understand? What example can give me? So, the same personality, but for example, you're the same personality in home, but on your job you behave differently. You do not reveal yourself open. You do not say much for your colleagues about your personal life. So you can understand that Vishnu here, Lord Vishnu, is engaged in function of sustaining some job activities, like job activities. But in spiritual adobe is personal, intimate life of Krishna. Krishna in home. We have different roles ourselves also. You told that the eyes we look on Krishna are different, like demigods we looking on Krishna are different from his real position. He was bound, but they look him as an almighty God. How should we different? Because the attitude and approach are different. So, what approach should we perform? What activities should we do? Prasad, when you see prasad, everything is changing. Your meditation is changing. Food is energy of the Lord. First step. Saintly food gives you perfection. What else can help to change the approach? I think time of getting inside of the depth, like chemical reaction has the process in time. the start and the end. So we should have enough time in the depth to sustain this seeing, spiritual seeing through the daytime. If the time of chanting is enough, reading, engaged in service and preaching, our understanding should sustain for a long time, even in nighttime. The metal cord should have enough time in the flame to become hot. One touch is not enough. We need some time. We regulate it ourselves. If we have the experience, we read books. If we feel our metal is different, I start criticizing in mind, or I can see different, or get into some relations. I have anxieties, I am disturbed. I read and read during 1 hour. And it is finished. The experience. That's our experience. I'm criticizing the seniors. How should I become disciple mood? To obtain the senior, you have you need some opulence, the amount of opulence. So you should perform the devotional service. You do not need the senior now. If you will criticize him, you need to serve somehow. It is not relations yet. The amount of the benedictions should be enough that you will not be disturbed with the lacks and faults of the seniors or of others. For example, the spiritual tutor as a personality has the faults, anyone. And your friend also has bad faults and habits. The difference is that the senior will not give you his bad faults as the friend will give you. He will force you to follow. But the superior will not give you this faults, but he will give you the spiritual experience. The more opulence you have, the more appreciation you will have, and you will study from him. Otherwise, false pride will make you say that you are better. I am better. I need pure devotee. I am a special personality. My superior should be pure devotee. With the false, I do not accept. It's a false pride, lacking the amount of opulence, spiritual benedictions. Could you say some words about mantras you chant before the class? Could you say what are you chanting? We are not choosing. We have a standard here. We have some choice, but there is a standard in the morning. Samsara Davanali Loka. You find it in the songbook, Guru Ashtaka. Guru Ashtaka. 8 verses glorifying this position of Guru. You can get a lot of revelations. Samsara, material creation, is burning like a fire. Tranaya, there is a savior, one who liberates, a mercy, karuna, of spiritual master, who is like a cloud, stops this fire of material existence. It's our song every morning. We chant. Here our standard is not a temple, a standard, so we change from one day to one day. The prayers from Vrindavan, names of Kṛṣṇa. which is chanted in Vrindavan in the mornings. We sing on different melodies. I use harmonium, musical instrument. One could use clap your hands or carousels. You need some good rhythm and chanting nicely, thinking inside, like a prayer. Every prayer Vibhavarishisha, chanting Prabhupada mantras. Then the most powerful mantra, it is even more powerful than Hare Krishna Mahamantra. It is Panchatattva Mahamantra, but it is not practiced ordinary 3 times only before Hare Krishna mantra. It gives us, without offenses, chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And then you chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, for example, during half an hour. So here we have non-temple centers. Temples are more strict on minutes, on hours sadhana, and everybody comes to some time. He can come on Mangalarati or Guru Puja or Bhagavatam time, but it has strict time schedule. Morning program, then daily bhajans, bhoga offerings, aratis. Temple is rhythmically cycling all day long, closed for cleansing. So you can come to the temple by schedule, and some activities are there. Service to the deities, and before evening Gaura Arati. That is this prayers of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, demigods offering Arati to Lord Chaitanya, and Bhaktivinoda opens this scene to us. Simultaneously, Arati is offered, incense, lamp, flowers to the demigods. This atmosphere is so nice. And then Krishna book or Bhagavad Gita read in the evening. And we can tend to this standard. In the morning program is most important. The most important in the morning. In the evening you can wait for a little on the job or something can happen, but in the morning the most important. When you perform the devotional service without love, out of your duty, and do not feel anything inside, what can help you to feel the love? So it is nice actually, but everybody wants love. And the love can be attained in the relations with the devotees. When we associate mundane people, we have experience of karma. But with devotees, we have different life, spiritual life. That is the start of emotions. Directly to Krishna, we go through the service to devotees. And our selfless service is a stimuli for nice, pure, devotional relations without karma. It is nice. It is a difficult process for many devotees because it is difficult process of love. In society of Vaishnavas, we have some faults, and when we face to face with the faults of others, and some cannot tolerate even, just go to the distance. But it is better to pass through this difficult stage through relation. And when we stir up to another and worship and tolerate others, and it's like a spiritual siddhis, then we can feel the real love, and it overwhelms all the faults. If you're talking about the love, it is the most powerful Love of Radharani is filling all the worlds. Its endless ocean overwhelms even the Vaikunthas and material world. Then we can understand the power of this practice, and we will not pay attention to this disturbance of the false. We will know what should we do in such circumstances or other circumstances. But if we are disturbed or dying from our false ego, that means we should be engaged in devotional service more and study our level of relations, controlling our tongue, start to see more positively, to see the things. Then Krishna will give us this intelligence, chanting his names. Gradually, step by step, we will understand how to use our speech. Controls of tongue is most important. More questions? Was it benediction or curse of Nārada? I could not understand. So when we are speaking about Nārada, there is no difference. It is not curse or benediction. It is always benefit. No difference, in any case. Nārada has transcendental level. And even Krishna says, Nārada predicted, I am obliged. We are thinking, Nārada is so powerful that all his prophecies... No, it's because Krishna does. So Nārada gives this benediction, but Krishna is servant to Nārada because Nārada has pure heart. He is thinking of the benefit for all living entities, not for himself. So that's why Krishna is serving to Nārada. How is it possible that Krishna said that after there is form they will go to heavenly planets, but he said the material life will stop? That means that the material life in the form of demigods would be the last life. Some question about Shishiguru. I do not see you as a flower. I cannot say now directly. You do not imagine. Do not involve something. Instruction of Guru is different. You chant attentively your rounds, follow the principles, engage in devotional service, help Prabhupada's mission. Then spiritual world will involve you. Don't guess. Why cannot I relate to Paramatma? It is an expansion of Krishna. Why cannot relate to Paramatma? You can. It is possible to have relations, but Paramatma is not for that. Not for relations. To control, sanction, to observe. The activities of material body. That is the meaning. That's the reason of Paramatma. But when we direct to Paramatma as to Krishna, then Krishna is revealed in the heart. Radha Krishna can get revealed in the heart. Hanuman had Sita and Rama in his heart. There is a story. Maybe Lakshman, maybe somebody said that, Hanuman, you show who you love to Sitaram. So much love he had, he did not understand firstly, but he torn his chest by his hand. And everybody saw Sitaram is there. Such a miracle. Nobody saw it before. But it's Paramatma. No any physiology was there. Only Sitarama. Old story we have. So there are miracles. Paramatma is the form of Lord for material existence. Without Paramatma, a living entity cannot act in this world. Impossible. We can see through the eyes, but with the help of Paramatma. We think because of Paramatma, with the help. Physically walking, sanction of Paramatma is needed for everything, because the world should be arranged, organized. We cannot arrange all the universe ourselves to act. And sanction is needed. How to act? The laws of nature. They are sustained. These laws are sustained by Paramatma as the conscientious voice. So when you meditate on Krishna, he will reveal in the heart more and more. So in the morning, you wake up 3:30 or 4 golden standard in the temple. 4:30 is Mangalarati, Premadhavani, Narisimha Pranam. Then the altar is closed. Tulasi Devi is worshipped. Painting or tree. Tulasi Pranama is circumambulated several times. Some mantras for Tulasi are there. After that, only japa starts. 16 rounds to chant. 7 o'clock, 7:15 deity worship. Altar is open. Again, deities are new washed and closed, and ornaments are there. Govinda Purusham, the recording of Jana, Yamuna and Harrison, and puja for Srila Prabhupada, Shri Guru Charana Padma. You worship spiritual master. Then Kirtan, Premadhavani, and Srimad Bhagavatam class. After Bhagavatam, everybody says Jai, enlightened, go for prasadam and eat everything which is cooked and run for service. Somebody is distributing books, some go for joke, and in the evening they meet again in the temple. You can understand your standard in the house, what you do. Maybe you chant all the prayers, singing like that. When Prabhupada came to USA, he was clapping very silently because the neighbors from outside started pouring the water. Don't disturb me in the morning. Somebody is driving and singing. If you have no time, you can have temple in the car. Don't be fanatic. But our mind will be engaged in this process. In the temple is a special meditation. So you should go to temple from time to time. Krishna came to Vasudeva and Devaki, but they performed so many difficulties. Is Krishna fulfilling our desires with such difficulties always? So, Krishna knows everything within the heart. He is situated as super soul here. But for Krishna to come in our personal life, like to Yashoda, one should have a strong desire, a desire to be with Krishna, everywhere but with Krishna, not attached to any circumstances or place. Devotee doesn't want to come back to spiritual world, but he wants to serve to Krishna, not to stay in material world, but to serve to Krishna, only to Krishna. He knows when devotee wants to stay in material world. He knows. So he will not come if you want to stay, as Yashoda and Nanda. If you have some attachments, Krishna could touch. We perform devotional service. We will have. But what touch or contact we'll have, it depends on our heart. Somebody thinking Krishna is the Lord. The Lord, the Lord, the Lord. He can fulfill my desires for liberation. I do not need the Lord, I need Krishna. That is a difference in devotional service, different stages of devotional service. The Lord is almighty. Somebody needs the Lord. But somebody needs a tiny little child I will feed. I will take care of him. Could you say some words about Subhadra, the sister of Krishna and the wife of Arjuna? Krishna book does not describe it. It is described in some Puranas. There are some materials. I do not know the details. Subhadra is daughter of Vasudeva. He had 6 wives. Sister of Krishna and Balarama, Subhadra, one of the wives of Vasudeva. She did not reside in Mathura. Arjuna found her in another city when he was on pilgrimage during 1 year, more or less, and he came to the place of Subhadra and he married her. It's a funny story described as Arjuna was marrying Subhadra, Krishna's sister. She was in great love with Krishna, but Balarama loved Duryodhana. He was disciple of Balarama. So there is a question. Balarama wants Subhadra to go for Duryodhana, Krishna for Krishna. Balarama is superior, elder brother of Krishna. It seemed that Balarama's desire should be, but Krishna did not mean pay attention. Arjuna stole Subhadra as a Kshatriya. I do not know the details so much about her rising. Disciple can see only thing that Guru gives him. If Guru is revealed, then disciple can see. Otherwise, disciple cannot see. These relations are very intimate. How Balarama didn't see bad qualities of Duryodhana? How could he want Subhadra to go for Duryodhana? He was bad. Oh, by film. Film is artistic. The image of Balarama is created. Duryodhana is evil. Duryodhana was very nice ruler, actually. He was demon, but he had some good qualities. He came to heavenly planets. He was fulfilling his duty very nicely. Very nice ruler. Balarama even knew that Arjuna would steal Subhadra in any case. He was cheated. It's a lila, it is a play. Thank you so much.